Okay, I couldn't let this day go by without making this video. Like I mentioned in videos of the past, there are times I make videos and then you have trolls, faceless trolls, and people that don't have any type of photos or videos on their page, on their channel, want to make comments, make crazy comments that don't make sense at all. Now, the last video I made regarding Kamala Harris, in spite of what I think about that woman, she is still a woman. And you have this certain group of people on YouTube, on the internet as a whole, that whenever someone is in public eye, they always, especially a black woman, they always have to label her as a man. They did the same with Michelle Obama and a few other black women. And it's sad because it's black males that are doing this. Now, on that last video, there was a comment that was made by a Rashid Thompson. Now, I don't usually mention people's name. I usually cover up their name on their comment, unless of course you go to that video and you see it for yourself. But this person calls himself Rashid Thompson, and his comment was, "Who care what that man does if you don't know by now? Kamala Harris is a man. Wake up, they're all trannies, no doubt about it." Now, my response to that person is, or anyone else that thinks that way, if you can look at Kamala Harris and think that that woman is a man, then maybe there's something wrong with you and the way you see things. And could it be possible that you might have slept with the opposite sex, thinking that it was the same sex as you? So if you see Kamala Harris as a man, maybe there's a chance that you slept with a man thinking that it was a woman, because we're living in times where people, humans, think backwards. They don't think right. The majority of the population don't think or see right. In videos of the past, I had given an example of a parable that's in the Bible of a blind man. And Jesus had asked the man, "Will you be made whole?" And the man came up with a bunch of excuses, but to make a long story short, Jesus anointed the man's eyes and asked the man, "How do you see?" And the man responded by saying, "I see men as trees." Let that sink in for a moment. After anointing that man's eyes, Jesus asked that man, "How do you see?" And that man's response was, "I see men as trees." And then it took another anointing, because there are people that have a curse on them so strong that the first touch of the Messiah is not enough to heal them. They need a second touch. But unfortunately, there's people walking around that hadn't even been touched at all by the Messiah. So Jesus anointed the man's eyes again and asked, "How do you see now?" And then the man responded by saying, "I see men as men." Now, that goes back to him seeing Kamala Harris as a man, as a tranny. And again, it makes me wonder if he's been with trannies of the past. And now he's at the point where he's confused. And now that when he look at women, he don't see women as women. He see women as men. Like that man in the Bible that saw men as trees, he see women as men. So if you see women as men, how do you see men? So if you see women as men, you see men as women, then we already know who your sexual partner is and how your sexual partner look. Kamala Harris, regardless of what we think of her, and regardless of what I may say about her, that's a woman. And in this photo, she's a sexy woman at that. See, my eyes are okay. I can see quite clear. So, feedback, tell me what you think, subscribe, financially support the channel. The link is on the bottom in the description box. Until next time, I'm fearless.